The 2000s, you would see an increased effort to criminalize undocumented immigrants. One of the federal agencies that would be responsible in enforcing immigration laws was the Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE. ICE was responsible for a number of raids and also for an increase in racial profiling. Okay, racial profiling meaning that individuals who looked like they were immigrants could be interrogated, questioned, and forced to prove that they are American citizens, or at least that they have the legal right to residency in the U.S. Okay, and so this affects Latinx people who are citizens, right? Because they could be profiled and might have to deal with this just for the way that they look. Okay, and so you're going to see an increase in racial profiling because of the tactics of ICE. 9/11 in 2001, where you have the terrorist attack on the Twin Towers in New York, that's going to have a major effect on immigration as well. You're going to see increased enforcement of immigration laws because now the idea is that maybe terrorists are crossing the border, right? And maybe there's going to be another attack, so we have to increase the enforcement of immigration laws to protect the United States from terrorists entering the country. Okay, and so after 9/11, you're going to see an increase in raids by ICE, especially at workplaces. Okay, there's going to be a number of raids, and this is going to have a big effect on Latinx workers, right? Particularly undocumented workers. A number of people would be arrested at their job site for being undocumented workers, and some of them were charged with crimes, right? So increased criminalization, crimes like identity theft, right? Or having fake social security cards. And so now people are going to jail, right, for being undocumented immigrants because now they're getting charged with these crimes. You're also going to see an increased criminalization taking place at the state level. And one example we'll look at here is in Mississippi. They passed the Mississippi Employment Protection Act, and this act basically would make it a criminal offense, a felony, for undocumented immigrants to have a job. All right, and so they could face 1 to 5 years in prison. They will have to also pay a fine of $10,000, and also this act is going to force employers to use the E-Verify system. Okay, what is that? Basically, this is an electronic system that will establish whether someone has the legal right to work in the United States. E-Verify was already in use for federal jobs at this time, but now you're seeing it being enforced on the state level, right? Just for any job. So in Mississippi, if you're going to get a job, you have to sign up for E-Verify, okay? And it's going to show whether you have the right to work in the U.S. or not. All right, and so that is another hurdle that undocumented immigrants are going to have to get over. The federal program Operation Streamline is going to be another issue. Operation Streamline, this is definitely working towards the criminalization of immigrants in that it makes it mandatory that immigrants be prosecuted on criminal charges. And so you're going to see, because of Operation Streamline, there's going to be a massive increase in the amount of immigrants that are being imprisoned, okay? Because now they're being brought up on criminal charges when they attempt to cross the border. All right, and so this is going to put a major stress on the federal court system because now you're going to have a lot more immigrants going into the court system. It's clogging it up basically, and so that's going to be a mess. Also, it's a problem for taxpayers because taxpayers are paying for this, right? The federal courts, all that, it's coming out of taxpayer money. Okay, so now with the criminalization of immigrants, now the taxpayers are feeling the brunt of that. Another example of increased enforcement of immigration is the 287G program. This is a federal program that made it to where local law enforcement works in conjunction with ICE to enforce immigration laws. All right, that means basically you could have local cops working with ICE to help deport immigrants, right? And so this is going to lead to an increase in racial profiling, right? Because now it's not just ICE who is racially profiling individuals and raiding workplaces. Now you have local law enforcement getting involved as well. All right, and so people are going to have to experience harassment because of this now. So traffic stops, getting pulled over by the police. This could lead to deportation eventually. You have local cops taking part in raids on people's homes without having search warrants. Okay, searching people illegally as well. And so all of this is an increase in harassment of people just for the way that they look. And these could be U.S. citizens, or they could be undocumented peoples as well. But now you have the police force getting involved in this, working with ICE. Okay, eventually you'll see people being arrested in some cases on insignificant charges, things that don't even really matter, right? Stuff like not wearing a seatbelt, right? That's pretty insignificant. People get charged, right? And then when they get booked and processed at the police station, they'll run a check to see whether you're an illegal immigrant or not. And so that was happening in Davidson County in Tennessee, right? Just pulling people over and arresting them for things that really didn't matter. That didn't wasn't really about arresting them. It was just giving an excuse to local law enforcement to try to enforce immigration laws on individuals who they thought were illegal immigrants.